Oh, g'day guys, just going to preview now the Launceston harness meeting on Sunday the 18th of June. 10 race card. The meeting has been knocked around a bit with a few favoured runners being scratched, so it's changed my thinking on a few of the races, but I think there's still a couple of winners we can find, but we'll go through them race by race. And the first is for the 2-year-old and the older non-winners. Similon Beach, pretty impressive on debut. Horses that eat beat have actually since come out and run very well, so be very surprised if he gets beat, and it's going to be a good things price. Of the rest, for second, there's not too much form to work from, but Warden Stars definitely worth keeping very safe. And Somerville Sand did things wrong first up for the new stable and has shown glimpses of ability in the past, so I'd probably have him second pick if truth be told, Somerville Sand. Race 2 is the Heat 5 of the Young Bloods Challenge for the novice claiming drivers. And there were 2 heats run last week, one in Devonport, one in Hobart, and the Mick Law stablemates won both. And they've actually drawn barriers 1 and 8 here in McAdam and Pagliacci. So McAdam has shown gate speed in the past. Does have a bit of gate speed outside him, so he's not a guaranteed leader by any means, but I think he's probably shown enough to suggest he can kick through, and if he does, he'll have his stablemate probably hard up on his back, and if that's the case, you'd imagine one of the duo should win. Forced to pick one, obviously our old mate Pagliacci did us a favour last week, so no reason to jump off now if he's going to sit leaders back in this type of race. And just looking for one outside of them, like Safari Oki was honest last time. Only a Myth loomed up to win, and actually did look the winner about 400 from home and died on its run. I just think if it can be held up, wait until the 250, 300 metre mark and use its sprint, then it might be the quickest horse in the race. So if it gets out to $10, it might be worth a few bucks. But yeah, tough race, but pretty packed. Forced to have a bet. There's something on our old mate Pagliacci and a few coins on Only a Myth. The third, for the C1 to 2s, some inform horses here, like you've got Crowder Stardust won her last 2, Pockets of Courage has won his last 2. I think he ran 4 or 5 seconds prior to that as well. And Cheshire Cats won her last 2 in stand starts. So, and from the draw, they're probably all going to be in striking positions. Speed map probably is Crafty Old Fox leads, Crowder Stardust will race handy. Pockets of Courage will follow Stardust wherever she goes, and Cheshire Cat will probably trail Pockets of Courage. Busted should get a cheap pegs run. They're generally nearly every horse in the race is going okay, so a lot will depend on luck in running, but the speed map probably suggests Pockets of Courage, despite the second row, is going to get the right sort of run, so we'll err with him, but there's not going to be too much value in any of the favoured runners, so it's not a race I'm overly enthused by, if truth be told. Race 4, for the C1 to 2s, it's also the last of the Young Bloods Challenge races, and there was also a heat and final held last week. The Hobart Heat was won by Sparkling. It was a funnily run race because they absolutely walked and dashed home from about the 400. Ran home in 27.9, and she came from leaders back, so she probably run 27.6 herself. But as I mentioned last week, it's very difficult to analyse form from those races because they are very rarely run that way again. Little Bit of Big was dominant in the Devonport Heat. Put 'em Back was in the same race as Sparkling, got beaten 20 metres. But he's not a horse with high change-up speed. Put 'em Back, he's more honest. And if this race gets run differently, he comes right into the mix. And there's one he's having his first start in the state in Say What. I've actually got the replay here. So you can see this is at the bell. Anyone listening on iTunes are just showing a video, obviously. He's under the whip. You can see he's under the front here, and a little bit of Big just gives him wind burn. You see he's going to run last here. You see, he's a giant of a horse, so I just think he'll be a bit better suited on the big Launceston track. And you can see, we'll just actually keep this running. Like he's not endowed with 1 inch of speed, but he keeps going the 1 speed all day, so I don't think Barrier 7's the worst draw in the world for him. You can see once he gets balances in the straight, he's going just as good as the winner again on the line, so he might sort of start silly odds. But you'd imagine one of that quartet wins out of 1, 3, 7 and 10. Forced to pick one, I'd probably go a little bit of big. She's just obviously proven herself in better races, so she's a safe way, but I don't think she's a moral by any means, and I think if you're taking quaddies or anything, I'd throw all 4 of them in. Race 5 is another race with some good informed horses. Faithful Jet is definitely his toughest test to date, but he does look the leader, and he's been settling a lot better in his races. Teresi was just super in defeat last time from a similar draw. You imagine if, I think the race comes down to, can Teresi be close enough at the 400 metre mark? Because if he can, he just looks too quick for the remainder of them. Tis Germain draws to get a gun run. He's not the ideal sit and sprint type of horse, but hasn't had much luck his past couple, so he will run well. Another swinger is dropping back from C5 to 9 races into a C3 to 4, so it's obviously the easiest assignment he's struck in a while as well. So, I think, and Regal Idea was a good winner last time and draws okay, so that's probably a bit. And obviously our old mate Christian Jazz have been following. It's just a tricky draw for him, but I do think Teresi will win, but he's probably going to get served up about $2.50, and you don't want to be taking that type of price about sit sprint horses. So, well, I don't anyway. Some others might feel differently. The 5th, pretty common theme, informed horses taking on one another, like Spot 8, I'm Camelot, the Better Mac, and Fern K Bobby G all contested a similar race here recently, and there was virtually nothing between them. You'd imagine there's a bit of gate speed inside him, but you'd think Spot 8 will still get over. I'm Camelot will probably work outside him, and there was about a head between them last time in that scenario. The Better Mac had a dream run last time. Obviously, it's not the worst draw in the world, but still not going to get the run he got last time. And Fern K Bobby G was just, he probably won't get the credit he deserved for his last win because he got a few favours, but he's only half a second outside the track record, won by 30 metres. He's going to be out the back here. It's not an ideal draw, but if he gets run to suit, he's going to be the fresh horse late. So, tricky race. Just at the value, I'd probably back both I'm Camelot and Fern K Bobby G. But, yeah, similar to the previous, I'd be throwing all 4 in quaddies as well. The 7th over the sprint trip for the 3-year-olds. The second row runners look to have a clear advantage here. You've got William Tell, who's probably the 6th or 7th best 3-year-old colt in the state, but as I've been doing, I've been singing the praise of our 3-year-old colts all year, and he actually won a pretty average affair last time, but bolted in. Lead Singer is an interesting runner, first up in the state, superbly bred, and Chenham Valley's sort of right up there with the best fillies in the state. So, just to look at the speed map, assuming Abs Boy doesn't get a run, John's Legacy probably looks the early leader. Hashali does come out quickly as well. But that will mean if William Tell should settle in the first 4 or 5, so he's probably the one that I were to on the speed map side of things. Strange been potting me all year, and I'm actually pretty keen on him here. Obviously, Lead Singer's got good Victorian form, but I still think the Tasmanian 3-year-old form's at least as good as the provincial Victorian 3-year-old form, so happy to back William Tell. And I do think one of that trio will win 9, 10, 11. And Charlie, as you mentioned, ran a much improved race in the bandbox final, but this is a bit more depth in this affair. The Claimer, my old nemesis, so there's not much between the top 4 or 5 chances in this at all. On Barney Row was probably the one who maps to get the best run out of them, but you can make a case for, I wouldn't be surprised if any of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. Remember, Joe probably just been a tad disappointing his past couple. Yeah, so you can come back to Barney just because he's going to settle in front of Creator Dazzler, Enter His Life, Major Callum, probably. And you're probably going to have Sutterman, loves to roll along in front. It generally sets it up for a swooper, so probably be pretty competitive the last 400 metres. Race 9, I was actually really keen, Crafty Old Fox. Now I'm in a state of confusion on the race. Future Promises, he's a opportunist type, so he probably got the gate speed to lead, but I'd be surprised if he did actually hold up. Ultimate Courage is the interesting one and hard to line up. New South Wales form's fair. Flashing out, he's going okay. Regal Major was pretty good last time in a on-speed dominated race. So he might be the one, just if forced to pick one, Regal Major each way. But as I said, no, just totally confused by the race. As you can see, we've got, 8 Ben Yole train runners there, so and I don't think there's too much between them all on ability, so yeah, Regal Major, forced to pick one. And in the last, I think there's 2 clear winning hopes here in Origin Billy, who was just super last time. I'm just concerned that I think I've already had about 6 people declare to me this week that they think he's a moral, so I reckon he might get over bet. It's the old story that there's not much doubt he should have won last time, even though he got beaten 23 metres. That they tend to start shorter at their next start when they're a good thing beaten than if they actually won the race. And Lord Jones, as we pointed out last week, I don't think there's much doubt he should have won in Devonport last week either. The draw's not ideal, but you have a look, you've got gate speed here in Lord Stark, Origin Billy, Sweet Pea Jasper. You imagine all 3 will be having a crack early. Like Lord Jones be smoking his pipe if they overdo it. I think in an ideal world, if you could back both Origin Billy and Lord Jones, one of them will win. I did have a look at the bet 365 mark, and they'd actually Lord Stark and Sweet Pea Jasper first 2 favourites, but I think Origin Billy and Lord Jones will start first and second favourite. A couple here, the old grey, the Keystone Kid, he ran a sneakily good race on debut. When he resumed, he'll need a few favours, he'll need him to stagger home, but he's worth throwing in the exotics. And just another one here in Ectoras, was a bit better run at Devonport than it actually looks on paper, and he might be the best real bolter on the card. So, as I mentioned, a couple of my best bets have been scratched. So it brings me back to, I'm going to break all my rules. I'm going to make William Tell the best bet on the card. Second row over the sprint trip. I just think that he follows out John's legacy, should settle in front of his major dangers and be able to control the race from there. So, and I actually did like his last win, and he wasn't that far behind. I'm going to say not far, he's about 30 metres behind Harjeet previously. So, but I think that's good enough form for this, and the price will hold up too with the lead singer in the race. Is obviously hard to line up, but happy to back the 6th or 7th best Tasmanian 3-year-old colt to beat lead singer. So anyway, guys, we'll wrap it up there, and we'll be back with you with a recap of the meeting probably on Monday. So Anyway, thanks again for your time.